Christian Horner's departure from Red Bull wasn't just sudden, it was strategically timed. According to Bernie Ecclestone, who spoke to Horner just one day before the firing, Christian had no idea what was coming. But when you look at the sequence of events, the timing reveals something far more calculated than a simple reaction to old controversies. Because this story isn't really about inappropriate behavior allegations from 18 months ago. The evidence suggests it's about a power struggle that's been building for years, and Max Verstappen's future played a bigger role than anyone initially understood. What I'm about to show you connects three seemingly separate events into one coordinated strategy. Let me start with the most telling detail. According to Formula News today, Red Bull didn't just fire Horner. They terminated him with immediate effect, meaning they didn't want him around for a single race in 2025. Bernie Ecclestone found this particularly harsh, stating it's like he murdered somebody. But here's what makes this timing significant. On May 20th, Chalerm Yoovidhya transferred his 2% Red Bull shareholding to a Geneva-based trust company. This might sound minor, but according to the reports, this single move dismantled the Thai majority that had protected Horner for decades. The pattern becomes clearer when you consider the departures. Adrian Newey left Red Bull in May 2024. Rob Marshall had already moved to McLaren in 2023. Jonathan Wheatley recently departed for Sauber. According to Formula News today, these weren't isolated decisions. They were part of what sources describe as a strange relationship between key personnel and Horner following the scandal. But the most revealing part comes when you look at what happened next. Sky Sports' Craig Slater reported that the Thai support has eventually gone away, and that the Austrian side of the company has been looking to make a change. The timing suggests this wasn't reactive, it was planned. The obvious explanation is that Red Bull finally acted on the harassment allegations from 18 months ago. Bernie Ecclestone, who's a close friend of Horner, was blunt about this, calling Christian an idiot for the situation. According to the reports, Bernie said Horner was a 50-year-old who thought he was 20 and thought he was one of the boys. The investigation cleared Horner twice, but according to Formula News today, the leaked WhatsApp messages embarrassed the team and damaged his standing. This seems to explain everything: inappropriate behavior, internal investigation, delayed consequences. But the data tells a different story. According to the timeline in the reports, the harassment allegations surfaced 18 months ago. The investigation was completed. Horner was cleared. Yet, the firing happened now, in July 2025, immediately after the shareholding structure changed. This becomes clear when you look at the actual trigger. According to Formula News, there are people who believed Horner was running the team like it was the Christian Horner ring, acting with impunity because of his past successes. The phrase "acting with impunity" suggests the issue wasn't the allegations themselves, but Horner's response to them and his perceived untouchability. The real question is, why now? The evidence points to something more strategic. The most significant finding comes from analyzing the Verstappen family's role. According to Formula News, the Verstappen family and Helmut Marko had been constantly bidding their requests to the Austrian side to get rid of Horner in whatever way possible. Jos Verstappen's position was documented clearly. According to the reports, he said loud and clear that if Horner remains in his position, the team will crumble as we know it. The pattern Jos described, senior figures leaving, results declining, internal dysfunction, proved accurate. But here's where the timing becomes crucial. According to Red News 365, Nelson Piquet Jr., Max Verstappen's brother-in-law, revealed on the Pelas Pistas podcast that Max will make a decision in August. When asked what he thinks Max will do, Piquet Jr. stated he will change. The contractual details are revealing. According to Red News 365, Max has performance-related exit clauses that could be triggered if he's outside the top 4 in the Drivers' Championship at the summer break in August. Currently, Max sits 3rd in the championship, meaning the clause is still active. What makes this timing significant? Red Bull fired Horner in July, just weeks before Max's potential decision point. According to Formula News Today, one theory suggests Verstappen's camp used their leverage to push for Horner's removal, suggesting that Max might be more inclined to stay at Red Bull only if there was a change at the top. The evidence suggests this wasn't coincidental. According to the reports, Horner, Helmut Marko, and Max's manager Raymond Vermeulen have all refused to deny that an exit could happen. They won't even deny the possibility. The financial implications reveal Red Bull's priorities. According to Formula News Today, Red Bull paid Horner more than £50 million because he had 5 years left on his contract. The reports note this proves the company was ready to get rid of him, no matter the cost. But the strategic cost could be higher. According to Red News 365, if Max joins Mercedes, the expected pairing would be Verstappen alongside Kimi Antonelli, replacing George Russell. Mercedes has invested heavily in Antonelli's development, making this their ideal scenario. The performance context is telling. Red Bull currently sits 4th in the Constructors' Championship, trailing McLaren by 288 points. According to Formula News Today, this is a far cry from their dominant heyday. Laurent Mekies, recently promoted from Racing Bulls, now faces the challenge of rebuilding. The 2026 engine regulations add another layer of complexity. According to Formula News Today, Red Bull's newly formed Red Bull Powertrains division is building its first in-house power unit, but rumors swirl that Mercedes may be leading the pack in development. If Red Bull's engine project struggles, they could face years of competitive disadvantage. Meanwhile, Horner's next move could reshape the grid. According to Formula News Today, Alpine is the most likely destination, with reports suggesting Flavio Briatore and Horner are every close friends dating back to the mid-2000s. Alpine needs knowledge, stability, and someone who has a proven record of winning. The irony is that Ferrari was also mentioned as a potential destination, but according to Formula News Today, reports from Italy state that because of all the controversies behind closed doors, the interest in Horner is close to zero. Sky Sports' Ted Kravitz summarized the power shift. The Austrian side of Red Bull, backed by Jos Verstappen, won the internal power struggle and convinced Horner's backers that his continuation was untenable. The evidence reveals a coordinated strategy, but several questions remain unanswered. First, the timing of Chalerm Yoovidhya's share transfer in May and Horner's firing in July. Was this coordination or coincidence? The reports don't establish direct causation, but the sequence suggests planning. Second, Max Verstappen's August decision becomes crucial. According to Red News 365, he needs to maintain his position in the top 4 to avoid triggering his exit clause. Currently 3rd, he's barely ahead of George Russell. Will Red Bull's leadership change influence his decision? Third, the broader implications for Red Bull's future. According to Formula News Today, without Max Verstappen, I don't even think Red Bull would have had what it takes to fight in the midfield. Can Laurent Mekies reverse the team's declining performance while managing a potential driver exodus? Fourth, Christian Horner's rehabilitation. According to Bernie Ecclestone, whether Horner's firing will prove to be a wise move or a costly mistake remains to be seen. The Alpine opportunity represents a chance to prove Red Bull wrong, but the timeline means any new role wouldn't start until 2026. The summer break is approaching, and according to the contractual details, August will determine whether this story ends with Max staying at Red Bull or becomes the catalyst for one of the most dramatic driver moves in recent F1 history. What the evidence suggests is that this wasn't just about Christian Horner's past actions. It was about Red Bull's future strategy. The question now is whether removing Horner was enough to secure Max Verstappen's commitment, or if they've simply delayed an inevitable departure. The next few weeks will reveal whether Red Bull's calculated gamble pays off, or whether they've just handed Mercedes their next championship driver. What do you think the evidence suggests? Let me know in the comments below, and subscribe because this story is far from over. The real test comes in August.